Welcome, welcome, everyone. Namaste, Akasha here. And thank you for joining me for today's special call. We're going to do past life readings. We're going to talk about why your sacred soul powers are important. And I'm very happy that you're here with me. So, I've been doing a lot of my magic. I'm a sound healer. And we'll talk a lot about some of the things I do because it really only comes forward when we're in person at the retreats. But I use a lot of different instruments in sound healing, toning, voice, symbols, crystals, herbs, different kinds of things. So we have our copal and our white sage that have been burning for a while. I've called in our sacred circle. So you've entered into this beautiful infinity healing chamber. This is a temple of light that is equal above and below. So we're between the worlds. What does that do for us? Well, that makes it much easier for us to access wisdom that is outside of time and space, like the idea of a past life. All right. It also makes it easier for us to be less influenced by pressures, things like fears and worries, whether it's just, what are the kids doing in the other room? Or how am I going to pay the rent? Or, I had an annoying conversation this morning, or when is this ever going to change? Okay, so everybody's going through this in whatever story you're in your life. You want to embrace the story. The story was written by your soul. You've come through the story. We are at a pinnacle moment. This moment is an intersection. It's an intersection in time and space. And it's literally, thank you so much. I'm holding Delphine here. This is called a Dragon Path cards, and this is Delphine. If you've been around a little while, you know that Delphine, here you are, darling, is the name in Greek mythology of the daughter of Gaia, who was in charge of protecting, living in the earth, basically the earth's Kundalini life force. This is one of my oracle cards. This is Delphine after I was in Greece and met her, and we'll be going back again. And we reconnected our navels through Delphi, which is the navel of the planet. She was asked to guard Gaia's source of life force. That means that symbolically, this is where the life force of the divine mother or the divine creator of all things comes into the planet and then through into every form of life, including us. We were cut off from that through history, through the things of cutting us off from the feminine, making it evil and bad, punishable by death, and some other really epic horrorful things like, burning at the stake, threatening, disowning, dismantling, being embarrassed, being pressured societally by family to be like everyone else, to live like everyone else, to follow the protocol, to have the fears, to sacrifice your love, your life, your happiness, to live according to everyone else's rules. And that's all falling apart now. So we all did a kick-ass, wonderful job getting to this point. Your soul designed your life. You were involved. You're one part of your soul. Your soul said, ooh, let's do this and this and this and this and this and this. Let's be a priestess of Athena in Athens in the heyday of the beauty of the birth of our society in some ways from the Greek, where the equality of the masculine and feminine and the interaction with the divine became one. And you had access through Delphi, and the wisdom of the sacred feminine was so revered, it became one of the wealthiest places in the world. We are reactivating that wealth, that respect, that power, that access, and we're making it available to everyone. What does that mean? That means that you have to begin to wake up and keep going, even when you feel like you're frustrated, even if you feel like things are repeating, even if you feel like you'll never be free. Those are illusions that you're losing, ties to the idea that it should happen. I've worked so hard, I've worked so long. When is it going to happen? This is good, but this isn't. These are stories that you were given to keep you in a spin of emotion that doesn't allow you to expand your senses. And then the sacred feminine, all the ideas of intuition, respecting the kind of energy or creation or way of being that that part of us needs. It's not just more rest or more pleasure. It's the self love of accepting who you are and then allowing yourself to create more of you. If you're walking with the paradigm, the conditioning, and the imprint that we're watching crack, blow up, explode, burn down, fall apart in our lives, in our emotions, in our perceptions, in what we value, in the priorities, in the way that the world works. And not everybody's behaving well. This isn't like, oh, we're all enlightened now. Let's all skip with the angels into the sunset. You can create that reality. And most likely, there's at least a part of you that's still creating the old reality because you fear it, because you believe it, because you have moments you go back to it. Now, don't get mad at yourself. Don't think you wasted your life. Don't get frustrated because then you're in the loop. Now you're stuck. You cannot rise to a higher state of consciousness, receive enlightened guidance, talk with the higher part of your mind, with the higher consciousness of yourself, and all the layers of you that know your soul's blueprint, your path, your missions, your powers, what you've done in other lives that could help you right now. Maybe you have wisdom, knowledge, or experience in a particular skill, and it could be mystical, it could be mundane, it could be being a gardener. It could be being a gardener in Atlantis. So one of our retreats, we often have a connection to Atlantis here in the Mayan land because this is one of the places that Atlantis sent people. Egypt, here, England, different places that there was seeded the Atlantean wisdom, which is now waking up because the crystals and all the things that held that wisdom, we were separated from it because the heart people weren't working through the heart. So the reason you see all the heart healing, all the emotional healing, all the times that you were heartbroken, all the times you feel separated from what you want, these are the patterns you came with to heal. They are supposed to have manifested in your life. How many relationships did you have? How many jobs have you had? Have you been, repeated a job you hated and always end up with the same result? And it's just like, of course, I shouldn't be doing that. Yet that's what I'm supposed to do and everybody wants me to do. But you suddenly feel like, no, I can't do it the way I used to. It's 12-12. I can't be the person I was. I can't give in and sacrifice my life, my energy, my happiness. You are literally giving your power away every moment that you're letting the reality you were told, whether you're just waking up to it, whatever part of the truth you're waking up to, or you're fully immersed in the awakening of it and you're in the depression phase. Like, I can't believe I cared about all that stuff. It's not even important. I've just risen to a new state of consciousness. I've just seen from a new perspective. I've just realized that when I accept what happens, I transcend all the judgment, all the craving, all the fear, all the anger, all blah, 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 blah. It's just a big tangled mess of dark energies that are constantly sucking you back in. And then you go, oh, I felt so good for 3 days. And now today I woke up and I'm depressed. Immediately you hand your power over to it and you say, oh, why doesn't this finally stick? Why doesn't it work? Why didn't that person hire me? Why isn't my soulmate here? Why? Then that pattern, that energy has sucked you back down. And now you're judging yourself again and you're back in the low states of consciousness again. It's a self-fulfilling, self-sabotaging, self-recreating pattern. Everybody has lived it. Everybody is still living it in some aspect or another. Depends on how free you've become, how long you've been walking this conscious path. And right now, we're all being ripped open and shoved out of the nest and pushed out of the shell. And it is the time of the dragon. The dragon says you must grow and build. But what are you going to put inside what I'm going to build for you? Well, the dragon is yang masculine energy, full sacred masculine energy that mirrors, supports, and co-creates in a duality that must happen in order to create form. You want something in your life. You want more money, more happiness, a different perspective, a healthier body, a happy relationship with your mother or your brother, or your sister, whatever it is. You have something. Your soul would like it. There's nothing wrong with that. However, How much of you feels like you can't have it, you won't have it, you don't deserve it, you don't believe you can have it? Are you operating to unhook and unravel those beliefs, or you just keep getting sucked into them? Or are you using something, could be spiritual work or alcohol or whatever, to just numb yourself from it? And are you spending any of your available time creating the life you want? So many times when I work with a private client, they make such leaps and bounds with the consistent support with someone like me, who I'm not attached to their family or what people think. I'm saying yay to your breakdown, and I'm watching it happen, and I'm helping you navigate it so that you can let the breakdown happen, emerge from what you perceived was needed, break the shell of that seed and see what's inside. And then face all the different fears that come up and down as you start to build the strength and you grow. And pretty soon you pop above the soil and it's time for the sun to feed you. You are so ready for this. One of the most important things we can do is access all of the wisdom, knowledge, power, skill, memories, even the wounds, because initially that's the only place we would connect. We would most frequently connect automatically. When I learned hypnosis and started doing it in school as well as with clients, people just spontaneously went to past lives. People who didn't believe in past lives. I wasn't even sure if I believed in past lives till that happened. And I started having them. That's why I took it, is my friend learned hypnosis and I went and I was like, what the hell just happened? And you can't deny the experience that you have in the work I do, whether it's in a class or a session or a retreat, whatever. We go so deep, we go into the parts of us that have nothing to keep the facade. We can go past the ego. We can go past the personality. We can go past the fear of being weird or feeling like we were always hated or different or made fun of, that we were told we were stupid and stopped talking to fairies and animals. It was cute when you were little, but it's not now. And this is most of us, our stories. We're sensitive, we're empaths, we're intuitives. We're already highly wired to our sacred feminine. So if the dragon is bringing new growth and says, I will build you your castle. I will build you your temple. I will build you your business. That's what we're doing this year. Don't be fooled that it'll be around next year. Next year, the sacred serpent is coming, and she, Yin, is going to say, shed that shit and go deep. This is the path back to your truth, back to your feathers, back to your wisdom, back to your spirit, back to functioning as a fully multidimensional creator being of love and light. I don't care what your story is. I do care, but I'm saying you're all the same. We all are here with a blueprint that can create a new world. If you're creating a world from fear, pain, anger, and all of that, you're not alone and you're not doing anything wrong. You have to let go of those beliefs and start to bring it up from the basement. You have to give it a new job. You have to find a way of using the energies that we exist within right now and are being offered to us through all the cosmic events like the eclipses and the moons, all of these experiences, like today. So I originally said I was going to do this earlier in the week. My brother-in-law died and it was expected. I've been doing a lot of energy work with him from afar. And I had no idea consciously that he was dying, but I'm practiced through shamans and mystery schools to work multidimensionally 24/7. So my private clients will often see me in their living room or in their meditations or sitting with them or in their dreams. And I'm doing this on many levels. And I don't need to know anymore consciously that I'm doing it, because bilocation is really like another concept of moving a body, and you don't need to move your body. So when you access other lives, you don't need to move your body. You don't need to like open a spaceship or a portal or a rocket and spend 80,000 light years going to Mars and something like that. We are already everything we need. It's in your codes that exist within your light body, your chakras, perhaps, and other aspects of you. And so your lives all hold an entire story. And you currently do not know the end of your story. Where you're living in your time space continuum in your life, you're right here with me. And you know that a year ago you were like this, and 5 years ago you were like that. And when you were 20, you were like this. And when you were 5, you were like that. And this happened to you, and that happened to you, and this happened to you, and that happened to you. And if you stand in this moment right now and look back in time over your life, you will be surveying a timeline, and you'll be able to see and identify, how do you relate to the story of your life so far. We all know that when you see the end of the movie, when you read the end of the book, it wraps up the story. There's some form of completion, and you feel fulfilled, you feel satisfied. You went through pain and loss, and you were with the heroine the whole way, and then you went through hope and love and bliss and ecstasy, and then more loss, and then struggle, and this and that. And then, if it's a good story, it's wrapped up, bringing these threads together. It doesn't say nothing bad ever happened. It said everything that this heroine went through, you are going through. You relate to that story. You are the hero in the hero's journey. And that path is uniquely yours and has been carefully designed. The people who've come in your life to hurt you the most are your best spiritual BFFs. And they agreed because it served their purpose too, to come be a jerk or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Nobody is a jerk to us because we're innocent. You do not attract an accident in a car, a sting from a bee, something falling out of the sky on you, dying of cancer, or anything else, including 5 shitty relationships and 12 jobs you hated, by accident. These are by design, and it doesn't make you powerless. It makes you purposeful. So as we enter the sacred space, and I started with this because of magic work, and I just realized this is new. I have a yellow one that I usually use. I have rain sticks that I like when we're in person, but these are very handy. And this one called to me. I've had my yellow one for years. I don't need a lot of different instruments. And not only the color, do you see how we're doing purple, purple, purple? Since the dragon year began, they're doing a purple thing with me. So that means we're doing a lot of chakra, a lot of royalty, a lot of authority work, a lot of stepping into our own authority. And and the side has a dolphin. So come play with the dolphins, come kiss the dolphins, come go in the caves with the great mother, come reclaim your child, your inner child with me in March, and come go to the pyramids and do the sacred ceremonies and be loved and healed, and allow me to do several healings. I think I do 2 or 3 really deep healings with everyone while we're there as well. And we also have another guardian here with us. This is the garden dragon called the cranberry dragon. And I'm new to these cards, and we picked this card the other day, and guess what? It was for the prosperity class, I think, or the question was about prosperity. And we pulled this out. I didn't know. I go, cranberry, how cute is that? Prosperity. Just adorable, beautiful energy. You can just sort of breathe that in. So this is some prosperity energy for our journey. And it's very relevant because right now I'm starting a prosperity magic manifesting mastermind. And I haven't worked with this closely with a group of people. And it feels very important for us to walk in this, like the Hobbit, to gather all of our magical people together and go on this quest together over the next 6-7 months to see where the dragon year what we can do within it. And what do we do within it? We access the sacred feminine. We awaken our intuitive gifts. We listen to our heart. We face all of our fears. We go in them. We love them. We accept them. We don't reject them. And now we don't get sucked back down into those low states. We start to go higher. We start to expand our abilities, our rays, our pineal, our lily, all the ways and the radio waves we have, all the skills we have. When we connect to other lives in our soul, we're now connecting to maybe you had a life as you were just a mother with, with a small farm in a very rural town. Nothing major ever happened. You didn't have a big war. You weren't really rich, but you had this really peaceful, serene life. You loved it. You didn't have cravings for more stuff. You had children and you had animals and you had a very slow, beautiful lifestyle. You were really connected to nature. Every day the sun rose and you watched it. You were basically communicating with all of life, and you embodied it, and you radiated love and acceptance, and people came to you for healing, not just your own children. Just being in your presence, you healed. That life could be incredibly valuable to you. Why? One, as a nurturer for you, because you need to be seen, held, and acknowledged for all the hard work you've done, for all the pain you've done, for all the sacrifices you have, and for all of the fear and depression and other things that are coming up now that you're waking up and realizing, oh, I wasted my life, or I'm stuck and I should, and whatever. Okay. Anything that takes you back down, anything that's lack of acceptance of the moment, acceptance being harmony, then you transcend. There's no effort, nothing to do. Inside the infinity healing chamber, which you are in, I want you to acknowledge that you're here. This is between the worlds. It's a mirror above and below of a silver and gold temple of light. I'm not going to describe it any further because it is a past life pavilion for us today. We are very specific in our mission, and we have created my guides, my walk on the beach, all of my beautiful, some really wonderful time with my healing Shauna cat, who is my Mayan fairy. That means fairies in Mayan. And she likes to live outside. So she comes inside and gets pets and plays for a few hours, and she goes outside, and she's very independent, and she is very clear of what she needs the environment to be like to support her prospering in her purpose. So she's 14 months or something, and she is requiring the freedom to be outside so she can do energy work with the sky and the earth. She is requiring the protection of some people like us who love her, feed her, and she can trust, and that she doesn't have to worry about those survival things, so she can do her work and her purpose. Now, cats are all incredible healers. They know how to transmute energy. They embody the quality of detachment. As the quality of detachment is a power, they hold it for you, whether you have a cat or not. You can tune into a cat. A jaguar maybe is your spirit guide. Maybe you relate to Bast, this beautiful pure healer, Egyptian goddess aspect of Sekhmet. That ability to detach is what I want you to embody now. The jaguar is one of my primary guides, and she's here. Ekbalam. Thank you. Thank you. She walks between the worlds. She guides people to death and into the other realms, and she will be our guide today. She sees through the dark, any dark, pain, fear, past, secrets, torture. Doesn't matter what the life holds. Most likely it holds something pretty painful, because the reason that you would be shown it is because it holds a story that holds a key to something you can use now to free yourself from a pain, to shift a mindset, to finally complete a pattern. You don't have to keep repeating an eating pattern, a relationship pattern, a dating pattern, a job pattern. You don't have to. In fact, the best advice is interrupt the pattern. When you connect to your other lives, you're acknowledging that there's many of you there in the soul. It isn't just about you. When we feel sorry for ourselves, when we feel lost in ourselves, when we feel powerless and painfully powerless, it's because we're self-absorbed. It sounds weird. I know I lived there my whole life. Oh, I'm trying to be the best and take care of everybody and make everybody right and fit into all the categories and do it all right. Oh, and you can't, because you're not meant to fit into anybody else's reality. You're not living their story, and you have to start to accept the story that you were in, that you have lived in this life, as perfectly designed to bring you to this moment, and you don't have to repeat any of those painful patterns anymore. You do have to be willing to detach from it. So the energy of the cat and the energy of the dolphin, because of the frequency of joy that is extremely high frequency. This is a power state. This is a master state. In order to embody joy, your emotional body fills with bliss. Most people don't relate to bliss as a realistic thing. Many people say, I don't even know what that would feel like. I don't even know how to be happy. I don't know how to feel safe. I don't know how to trust that the money will be there. So I worry all the time that it's not. And then I imagine all the ways it won't. And then that's what happens. Yes, it does, because you're the creator. It's never going to stop happening that way until you interrupt the pattern. So understanding another life is a tool that is beyond anything you could imagine, because it doesn't just like, oh, that was really interesting, cool experience. So if you join what started as a class and is really like an enhanced private session now, is the soul powers, is we go into a life. I do a private session with you where we go into the core life. And that's what I'm calling in today for these mini readings we're going to do. We're calling on the core life that is for the highest good and what is optimal at this time for the soul's awakening, the soul's empowerment, the soul's releasing, the soul's realigning, and the soul's remembering, so that renewal, rejuvenation, and the freedom to grow, to prosper, to express. One of the energies this year is about creativity. So the dragon energy is going to say, new growth, bring me something new. I'm going to build the building for you. I'm going to build the structure for you. Don't worry about that. However, you have to bring something to fill it with. Okay. And you have to be creative, and it has to be new. That means you can't recreate the past. This year is the year to stop it, and stop it good. So if you decide to join that, we do 3 live classes. We create 3 processes for you. 1 that you can put on anytime you want and do a soul retrieval. 2 that you can put on anytime you want, and you can go to a life that has a wound, that has a fear, that specifically has the thing that's blocking you, that's related to the challenge you're having right now, whether you know what it is or not. Maybe you're just like, I don't know why I don't feel good, or why I get sick all the time, or why I keep having psoriasis, or whatever it is, okay? And 1 that will take you to the life that's ready to connect right now in that moment. So you repeat these as much as you want. So you're going to have all those tools, as well as communicate with your past lives, audio, and several classes on more information about past lives, how to see them, how to understand them as a tool, how to understand them as a part of you instead of an anomaly, a weird mystical thing out there, something other weirdo people believe in, or something that could harm me. The Akasha is there, the Akashic records, people call it often. It's the 5th element. It's the black dark matter. The field is imprintable, because this is all consciousness. This is a created universe of masculine and feminine. So specifically, when we have an energy that's a masculine energy that says, I'm going to build for you, you need to show up with something new and creative to put in it. And guess what? I'm holding the masculine. That means you need to bring something through your intuitive skills, through your own womb, through your own heart, respecting and loving yourself, expressing yourself, freeing yourself from the things that say, I can't have what I want. I'm not good enough. I don't know what I want. If I get what I want, someone will take it. We know, right? We know that is a very common issue for everybody in some form or another, whether you literally grew up thinking that you had to keep your desires to yourself, or that your mother would steal the things you love, or someone else would take it, or someone would ridicule it. If you were super psychic as a child and talking to fairies and you knew stuff, like we started to travel. And first I lived in Chicago, and we traveled in the Midwest, and we'd go to these places rurally where there were a lot of Native American things left. I don't know if there were many Native Americans, sadly. But there would be like a general store or a restaurant, a buffet restaurant, and it would have this huge carving of this Indian brave, this Native American standing there. I was mesmerized. I wanted to be Pocahontas. It was my favorite doll. My mom made me the outfit with the hair. Everything about the Native American woman, maiden, really more. That was extremely attractive to me. I didn't realize it was because of past lives. It was because of something I brought with me. Nobody talked that way. Then we moved to Europe and we started to travel through ancient places, through old cities. And when you do that anywhere, it could be the woods, but it could be any of these places where people have lived that you could have lived. There's plenty of your bones and body and DNA from other lives buried all over the planet. You're still here. You have lives on other planets as well. You have lives that had mentors. You had lives that you were a mentor. You have lives that the mentors want you to come back to training or want to remind you of your training or want to take you to the next step of your training. You have issues with your finances. There's parts of you that are experts that maybe were accountants or had a lot of money and understood the mindset for it. Recently, a client had a life come through, and this is the life that you do if you do this session and this class session. It's in the shop. It's called those Sacred Soul Powers. It's on sale again, and it's the life. Wow, it was so intense. I'm trying to remember what was the aspect that popped out because I had to do a tech thing right then. The life was explaining a lot of the patterns of hiding and not allowing herself to have what you want, feel good about having what you want, always having to be on alert, always having to be worried, always have to be vigilant, meager, frugal, all of these things that was a lifelong pattern. And the fear that somebody would take what she truly loved. So burying it, not expressing it, went to burying it and not expressing it to herself. And even though that underlying pattern exists that you unfulfilled, right? That you want something, but you feel unfulfilled. This is why people end up in craving, addiction, desire, disappointment. It's a loop of enslavement. It's a state of consciousness of stuckness that does completely disempowers you. And this is what you get sucked back into when you go around. So I want you to hold within your heart and your space here, because the temple is already designed to align you with whatever is optimal for your highest good at this time. And we are here very intentionally to connect to those other lives, to the Akasha that holds all of the wisdom, all the memories. It's all there. You don't have to work at it. What's the difference of you starting to connect to your own other lives is because there may be an answer, there may be support, there may be a hug, there may be a memory of, oh, I used to work with, some reason Demeter is coming into my head. Demeter is a Greek goddess of the mother goddess of spring. She brings life back to all the life force back after the winter. And her daughter Persephone was taken into the underworld by Hades to be his wife, kind of against her will. And so it's the story that explains why half of the year her daughter has to go down and live in the shadow world away from her. And she's sad and everything dies. And then in the spring, Persephone is allowed to come back up and she comes back to life. So somebody has a life with Demeter. I love her. I'm going to go to her Eleusinian Fields this time in Greece. So you might relate. So we were going to traveling around, and one of the ones I remember was Greece. I loved Greek mythology, Greek everything as a child. I knew it all. I got the books, but it was like I already knew it. And then we went to Greece, and everywhere we went, I knew the temple. The guide started asking me, I think I was 9, this is the temple of, and who is that? And it was beyond magical, but again, nobody knew. This was 1969. Nobody knew to say, hey, you got past lives. We went to Florence, and my parents were standing there with a paper map. This was the 70s. And I'm a little kid. We just bought a piece of pizza out of a little pizza window. I was blissing out on my little piece of Italian pizza. And we just parked the car and started walking into the main center part of Florence. I'd never been there before in this body that I knew of. I hadn't read any stories or maps. I was too young and didn't care. I was kind of like, hey, where we're going? Oh, there's pizza. And my parents were standing looking at the map, and they're going, well, no, I think the David is over there. No, I think we should go here. No, I think it's over there. And I just look up and I say, the David? Oh, you go 3 blocks this way and you take a left, and then it's about 4 blocks down. And they looked at me like, yeah, sure, went back to their map, eventually bumbled their way there, and I was 100% right. The entire trip, every time I turned a corner, it was like a whole vision or a map opened inside of my head. I'd been there. I knew what that museum was. I knew this place. And this happened so many places, so many times. It wasn't until later when my life fell apart that any of this began to matter again for me to seek a different reality than work hard and pay your bills on time and don't embarrass anybody. Boring. Okay, we can do that. We can do that with our hands strapped behind our heads. We can do that with no money. We've done this so many times in poverty and in wealth, and we're afraid of both. And we want to unravel all of that. What the point is now today is that we are here together in this sacred temple, and we come here open hearts and open minds. We come here with the full intention to align with our soul's powers and purposes, to accept that we are not alone and that we are one of many aspects, like an exquisite diamond, of our soul. And our soul is made from source, and source is our heartbeat. We are fed in every moment with the divine life force. And within this space now, I'm ready and willing to enter my temple of past lives, soul, powers, healing, and realignment. Now you're being asked to walk through almost like a hallway of golden light and so much smoke and incense, and just breathe and cleanse and clear and release and be willing to let go all that no longer serves you, whether it's in the cells, whether it's in the organs, whether it's in the heart, the veins, the bones, the muscles, the brain, or the eyes. Release as you walk deeper into this sacred chamber. I am here because I know that it is time for me to be freed, free from the story that has held me back, free from the place that I have been living and creating and recreating. I'm ready to own my creative powers in whatever way that unfolds. I accept it now. I am ready to accept that I am supported, that I already have powers, that I am here on a fully funded mission, that everything I require to step out of this reality and begin to create anew, everything that I require to free myself from mindsets and fears, from patterns with money and love and health, none of these hold me prisoner anymore. I turn in my keys, I sign the end of the lease, and I allow the culmination, completion, and a beautiful resolution of all stories in this life that are complete. Trusting my soul, my higher self, my I am presence, Gaia, and my body elemental. Relax. You feel the releasing and the cleansing. Relax and let it all flow away. You have a beautiful guide appearing in front of you. Isis is standing here behind your personal guide. Her wings are up and out. She looks at you with piercing violet eyes. She holds this stance of freedom. Within her body is a door. In front of this door stands who? What? Osiris looms behind her, her husband, her partner, the sacred feminine and masculine embodied, the ability to bring death back to life, to resurrect the pieces no matter how broken, and to stand again in full power. The doorway in his body leads to a golden light. The doorway in her body leads to a dark, starry night. Now approach Isis. There is someone standing in front of her, silhouetted in the door of her body, the starry velvet night. Why are you here? What have you come for? What is your challenge and what are you asking? Be clear. Ask boldly and bravely. Make no excuses. We do not care about your sacrifice. We do not care about how far you have traveled. These are the things you must leave outside because this journey is not the one that you will have any resolution. This will not solve your problems if you bring any of the past with you. The past that you perceive as wrong. As you approach, you see that this being standing here seems to change. It is you. It is you. It is you as a child. It is you as a baby. It is you as a teen. It is you as a new parent. It is you at your first job. It is you opening your first joyful creation. It is you crying with grief and loss. It is you craving and wishing, sitting alone. You continue to walk around this. It is like a kaleidoscope of all these aspects of this life. And you notice there is a theme, there is a thread. Walk 3 more times around here. Your heart and the lives here represented, they connect and they begin to spiral together to create something stronger, more tangible. The 3rd time around, you feel these 3 strands now, and they're released into your heart. You turn. I am here. I call on this divine mother, the divine mother of all life and love. I enter your heart. Guide me to the life that has the answers, the powers, the wisdom. I'm ready for the guidance. I'm ready to see the light. I am ready to rise out. I say goodbye to misery, shame, blame, judgment, and anger. I say goodbye to disappointment and craving and why and when and where and victimhood. I say goodbye. I rise now. I take my courage out. I light my path. Step now into the infinite space of Isis's temple of timeless wisdom. Here you may be simply floating. You may be slowly releasing your mind. This is a space between the worlds. And the divine energies are lifting you, gently expanding you, supporting you. Lighter and lighter you move, almost magnetically, towards a star, towards a light. You move closer and closer and closer, and now, with a breath, you feel as if you land into a moment, into a place, into a time. As you relax here, you feel yourself slowly coming into this reality. Just watch and witness. Just be the receiver, the watcher, the alien. Are you indoors or outdoors? Simply allow the intuitive information to flow to you. Don't grasp. Receive. Are you alone or are there others there? Where are those others? Are they far away? Do you hear them inside and you are outside? Are you upstairs and they are downstairs? Are you in a room filled with people or one person? Are you completely alone? About how old do you feel? Just softly relax as if you're watching, as if you've been brought here and you have no idea. Open and receptive, willing, knowing this is for your soul's highest, empowering joy, love, prosperity, and good. How do you feel here? Do you feel afraid? Do you feel locked up? Do you feel powerless? Do you feel like you were put here? Is it just dark and you don't know where you are? Is it a cell? Is it a cave? Is it a room? Do you feel as if others control you? Do you feel frustrated, unsatisfied, restless? Do you live in a prison that perhaps isn't a prison yet is? Do you feel suppressed and angry? What brought you here to this moment? What brought you here? What challenge do you have now? It's the same energy. Let it out. Let it show you. Why are you here? Why did you feel it? What happened? Now allow yourself to come more fully into this moment. Let that part of you connect to you and begin to share with you more of the story. What happened? Who are you? How did you end up in this moment? Or do you feel joy or bliss or freedom? Have you run away? Are you in the forest talking to fairies? Are you a small child who still had freedoms? Where did you go? What does it feel like? Immerse yourself in it and let the story tell you why you are connected, why you are here. Now drop completely in to the fear or the drama, the sadness or the grief, the broken heart. What is happening here? What relates to the challenge you feel now? Allow yourself to see it and sense it. Communicate fully with this other life. Be there together. I'm here. We're here. I can help. You can help me. Together, we can release this. We can resolve this. We can understand and accept this. Now, this other part of you is showing you a key, but it's enormous. It's like flashing. It's 3 feet long. It looks like old-fashioned metal key is holding above the head. This is a key. This is a key. This is a key for you right now at this time. This is a key for me right now at this time. Us coming together right now at this time means we can unlock something neither of us have had, and both of us require, desire, and are ready to own, to enjoy, and to use. Now move forward in the timeline of this life. What happens next? As this unfolds, move faster and rise above both of you, of being in this life and in the pain. Fly above and move down the timeline to the death. Now watch and understand what happened from that moment till the death. What died, what was never reclaimed, what decisions were made about self, love, wealth, truth, and what agreements did that life make at death. I will never again speak up. I will never again let anyone know I'm intuitive. I will never again convince anyone to do anything, even though it's from my heart, because people end up hurt, or I end up hurt, or dead, or outcast. Find the agreement. It's the same one you brought into this life that keeps you stuck right now. Now bring this agreement, extract these decisions that life made, take them out of the hands and the mind and the heart, and leave the body there to go back into the earth. Rise with the spirit of your soul, your life, and come together with this agreement. Come back now, rising up into a beautiful sacred space within your temple. The stars are all around you. Isis wraps you with her wings. You see a beautiful altar in the middle of this circle, and you walk together. You lay the agreements that you have and the agreements that life had on the altar. You step back and you bow. I give great thanks to these powers that have held me to certain standards, that have tried to keep me safe, that were decided in a moment of emotion, fear, loss, and pain. I surrender these, release these. I unhook and disconnect and detach, and no longer have the power that this has held over me, outside of me. As you watch the agreements, perhaps they dissolve and turn to dust, to blow away, burst into flames, whatever way that your higher soul would like to show you how permanently these agreements are now ending. You have within you a power that cannot be held in anymore. The limits of the beliefs of these are done. You are not in danger. You are strong. When you release these, you reconnect to powers. Now, both of you walk through as the altar, the agreements, and all the sacred energies dissipate back to source. You download the wisdom, whatever qualities that person had, whatever wisdom, schooling, connections, and understanding that empower you. And you gift yours. Now you walk into the light, the doorway within Osiris. He is the doorway to the next life. You have passed. This has now freed you. Enter this golden realm. Be bathed in the sun and the great central sun and your great central sun chakra and your solar chakra. And this solar initiation now brings all the gold and light, all the wealth and life force to you, to this other life, that you may be rejuvenated, reconnected. And when you re-enter your day, you will have this newly energized part of you ready to emerge with new wisdom, new understanding, new patience or new strength, new ideas. So continue to bathe in this gold ray. Be embraced with the sun. This is yourself. This is the sun of yourself, the whole self. And you're being held, seen, recognized, and loved by yourself. You merge together with the divine blueprint of yourself and your potential and your powers. Absorb it and receive it for a moment as you slowly come back into this place, into this moment, in a new time, as a new being. And I will be silent for a moment while you integrate. And then, if you share what you felt or saw, I will do a reading based on what you experienced to give you more understanding and depth. Let's be in silence to acknowledge the beauty of this place, the story that has come forward for us, to surrender its fear and its faith, to release its wisdom and its blame. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we'll come back now. All right. Well, that was interesting. And a lot of stuff to release. So we did a lot of releasing there. That turned into a full-on past life process there, a little abbreviated, but so what they were showing me was I was watching a lot of different one of you, some of you I know, and seeing things. And anytime I was like, oh, I'll start sharing that, uh, it was no, let them have the experience, because that's really what my bottom line is. All of this is so that you start remembering how to receive your own information, how to interpret your guidance, how to take action despite your fears, because we all have all these things, right? And so that's what I want to empower you to do, whether you walk with me weekly in a mastermind, or you come to classes or retreat now and then, or you do the live streams, any way that I can support you in listening to your own voice. When I started to do hypnosis, I was so blown away by what I saw happen when someone did hypnosis. And I thought, if you can do that by just changing your mind, right? Okay. Is if you can do that, I said, my God, this is the key to everything. And then I went 5 years, I went in deep into learning hypnosis, hypnotherapy, hypnotism, and all the relationship, all the experiences I saw people had. It was so common for a past life to be something that came up as an explanation or a trigger. There was a lady who was raped 3 times in this life, clearly had trauma. It's 1313. And there was a lady who was attacked by her father when she was little, happy, playing in a sandbox, playing all in her little fairy world, singing, and her dad didn't like it. And the trauma was that it was shock. It was out of the blue. He was big, strong, angry. And he came from behind her, grabbed sand and like shoved it in her throat, down her throat, so she would stop singing. And the amount of trauma they both carried was equal. In fact, the little girl story held more trauma, and for how she was handling it in this life. So it is never what happened. It is never who. You must know who, what, where, when, why sometimes. Sometimes you just need to have the feeling of it. Oh, yeah. So I had I had a client who came to a retreat, and we were doing Egypt. We were going up the Nile through the temples. I had been there, so I had my stuff that's from Egypt, and those right there. And I have a sphinx about this big, and everything was about Egypt. And we started doing the meditations, working through the chakras up. And I don't know which one, but afterwards we shared, and this one lady said, I didn't realize this was about Egypt. And everybody thought that was funny because it was all over everything. It was the Lion's Gate 888, but it was Egypt, Egypt, Egypt. And literally her soul, her mind was so afraid of Egypt. She hated it in this life. She feared it. It made her feel sick to her stomach. She felt there was something evil there. She was never attracted to it. She didn't want to go there. And this was, just by knowing anything about it. And she just stared at me across the room and said, I never would have come to this if I knew it was about Egypt. I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to think about it. And then we all laughed, because clearly this is how her spirit got her there. What if you read the signs wrong, arrived early or late, missed the train, didn't get the graduation and that particular job, got laid off for the 10th time. What if that was the opening in the hero's journey story that led you down out of your ordinary world and got you in a weird way back on your path? So she did, of course, remember a past life, and she was a priest, and she believed in what she did. She was doing it for the people. She learned all the mysteries. She worked at a particular temple. I had been there. We found out which one it was. She had this experience in the activation. This is the kind of things we do. And afterwards, she was sharing, this was the pinnacle life that we're talking about. This life held the clues, and the clues were so buried that she was never going to find it unless she was forced into an uncomfortable situation faced with Egypt right here, because easily she could avoid ever talking about Egypt. Who cares about Egypt? I want to go there. Whatever. Like nobody has to live their life and even know anything about it, right? And it was forced into her to come into this spiritual journey. So she remembered the past life as the priest, and she experienced enough of it while she was the priest in her full glory, in her love of what she did. She felt called to it as a young boy. She went into training early. Her whole life was in the sacred arts, and worked for a particular, I don't remember who, at a particular time, a particular dynasty or pharaoh or whatever. But it was, pure medicine man, pure spiritual, not the high priest, not the advisor to the pharaoh, one of the temple priests. Okay. So, when you reaccess a life that has those kind of powers, and that's what we're looking for in the work we're doing now, if you want to join that, is the life that holds the template, the blueprint, the stories, the reasons, and then the agreements, because you make a decision when something happens, what it means. If it means I'll never trust anyone again, I'll never love again, I'll never have money again because someone will kill me for it, I can't trust myself with money because I did something bad with it, whatever it is, whether it's what someone else told you, it's your own decision from what happened. Many of these past lives tell you about something you did that took strength and courage, and then in the end did not turn out well, and you died feeling responsible for having hurt your family, your loved ones, your town, or you started out as a powerful king who really had a good heart and ended up corrupt, right? There's all of these kinds of realizations that happen. Then you make a decision. This is called a soul contract. The soul contract embeds in the soul, and it's so full of power and emotion that it's like a toxic fume that keeps going out. Then you have other lives who have similar losses, similar pains. Pretty soon they create a little network of misery. And then you came into this life and said, all right, here we are, pinnacle moment, bring it on. What am I supposed to do? And they said, take this shame life, take this fear of speaking up, take this fear of putting yourself out there, take this fear of making money, take this fear of losing money, take all of these things with you. Here is a mega storage of soul contracts. Now, you're going to spend the first 30, 50, 60, I don't know, years of your life. It's going to really depend on the choices you make, how soon you wake up to certain things, and how many times you need to repeat it. It doesn't matter how often you repeat it, but you do have a choice. So right now you can interrupt that pattern. And I'm looking forward to seeing who has something, because what's fun is now that we share these, we get to see how other people's patterns relate to ours. And then we free more of us. And remember, everything you're doing, whether you share it here or not, has now been put into the Akasha, and you have given this gift of freedom and release and understanding of your multidimensional nature, or even the possibility, just the seed dropped out there to somebody who might catch it, that realizes they have what they need within. They can trust themselves. They can move forward. They can grow something this year with the dragon energy. But you're the one that has to fill the building. Okay, let me sip here and I'm going to go. Mm, wow, that's really sour. Woo. Okay, Kim says, I lived in Arabia as part of a harem. Oh my goodness me. These things tell you so much. It's so amazing. And first of all, hi, Kim, I love you. I want to congratulate you for seeing, welcoming, receiving what was coming through like this. And I want to let everybody know you could just have felt things or saw colors or floated around in nothingness or fallen asleep and you still did it right. Okay. You have to come in with the rightness of where you are in the moment and accept it so that the next moment can be something different or something more enlightened or something, whatever. But it's perfect. Okay. Okay. Treated as a slave, no freedom of any kind. Shared visions with the other captives, hoarded food and shared. Sheiks found out and tortured, killed. Cannot share things with people. Don't stand up for oneself. I stay small. I want nothing. I was I want nothing was what I learned and brought with me. Ugh. I used a giant eraser to remove these ideas and judgments. Fantastic. I love it. Kim is an intuition awakening a student, a prosperity magic student, all these wonderful things. And she's amazing. Like she was extremely intuitive as a child and shut it down, like many of us, and is just opened the door, just stepped right in and opened the door. So now she's in the process, like all of us, of learning to live with it in your day to day life. How do I take this ability? So, okay, this is fantastic. And I want to tune in because Kim and I were just talking today uh, about the mastermind, and we were looking at some of the things that are happening with her right now. And so, like many of us, we're in a moment of crisis, and it feels like an emergency, but it really means that you're emerging. So we're in an accelerated emergence, and I'm borrowing that from Alberto Villoldo. I love those words. It's going to become a part of my new language. Accelerated evolution is correct, and yet it feels so clinical. And I feel like we are so intimate and with our realities now. So here you are. So beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. So looking into this life deeper, you've done like brilliantly connecting, seeing the patterns, right? Seeing how that idea, just the energy of being a slave, having no freedom, being somebody that's owned and then used for your beauty, for your body. Um, Treated well is interesting because there are these aspects of the feminine being used and bartered and sold and seen as something that's owned and does whatever you want. And it's not, certainly not condoning it. It's also not to say it's bad. It's just the way it was in many cultures. Okay. And the fact of that is just to realize that this part of you who lived there, this was her reality. This is her reality. This is how she sees things. She has not known anything else. However, she did manifest being a slave, someone powerless, but treated well, kept somewhere beautiful. And because you were valued for your beauty, then you were, pampered. You were massaged and bathed and smelled good and dressed up pretty, and you got to live this kind of a nice life. The other thing too is you had a beautiful community, the other women there. You had the parts of you that related to the community that was victim, that was very steeped in the depression of the situation, of the reality. And you were also connected to those who were able to sit, to enjoy what they had, to appreciate the moment, to make the best from it. And then there were the extremes. There were people who were completely clueless to the fact that this was being empowered, and they didn't care about a freedom, and they held a different kind of energy. All of these women across this spectrum are all connected to you through her. There's a sisterhood aspect to this life as well, one of the powers that she holds. She also holds the ability to, at some point, she accepted that her power was in her beauty, and her desirability, her attraction factor, how much she stood out, how much she was seen or not seen. She could dial that up and down. So you're you hate to put yourself out there, because in the harem, if you put yourself out there, if you were laying there being glamorous or sexy or dressing up or parading around, or paying attention to when the sultan came in or something, and running over, to display yourself, there was women that did that. They wanted to be picked. They wanted to be picked. And then there were the ones who never wanted to be picked, who would hide, hide, hide. And then there were the ones that would sort of just float around and watch from a distance. And so you learned that not being seen, not putting yourself out there, gave you more freedom. Not only were you not required to go do things that you didn't really want to do, but you also had more time to yourself, because the less you were chosen, there became like these groups of favorites that would go through phases, that they would go through phases. So you learned it was safety, but it was more like a little bit of happiness or nurturing yourself if you could just do your best to sort of be in the background while still, taking good care of yourself. You weren't like, oh, look, I'm hideous, I don't love myself. And she wants to bring you some of that self-love for your body as well. She needs you for your freedom. And she says, you don't know that you're free. You think that you're a slave to jobs. You think you're a slave to the life that you lived, or the time you've wasted, or the different things that you have or you don't have, or you perceive that you need. She said, but you do not understand when you live my life. I've never been free. I don't know what it feels like. I don't know how to think that way. I cannot break this pattern completely and free all the other things that I have without you. So we will be breaking slave patterns in both places. And I'm part of the people that are telling you, no, your value is in who you are. You do not have to go do that. She really wants to enjoy her beauty. She wants to enjoy her life. She wants to enjoy those beautiful things, and yet she's kind of been hiding. So she says, as you put yourself out there and step into beautiful things that you can share, I will. And we're going to walk this. And as we walk this together, there's like something to do with 7. I don't know. I asked it 7 days, 7 months, 7 something. I don't know. Nothing. Something about the number 7. Standing up for yourself versus staying small, wanting nothing, and then reinforcing it with people around you who told you you can't have anything and you don't deserve anything. You've put guardians into place to keep yourself from asking, from getting in trouble, or from suffering. And there was this key that everyone was given, and she's standing there pointing at it. She says, Now we have the key. The solution isn't how to survive it. The solution is open the door and go out into the new world. You're going to do this together. Maybe you need to sit with her for 7 times. There's a lot of dragons here too. Go back with the eraser every time it comes up. You just say, oh, okay, there you are again. There you are again. Ever had a stain you had to keep, cleaning until it came out finally? Just keep going back. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, fabulous, fabulous. Lisa Cat, is my daughter now the daughter from before? It feels like that. Still releasing those feelings that I wasn't vigilant to protect her. I know, right, sweetie? We got to get some grief out. All right, so I want you to see and feel this obsidian and let the grief out of your heart. Everyone can do this. If you have some of your own, any black stone, obsidian to me is the best. Shungite's grade, anything you want. And yes, yes, yes. We allow the grief and the regret and the pain and the sense of responsibility to be released from Lisa, Kim, to be released from me, from Lenore and Spirit Messenger, from Josie and Sylvia, from Marnie and Arietta, from Susan, Priya, Cody, Sherry, from Autumn and Iritag, from WM and Jill, from Arietta and Lucille. We ask that the freedom be brought to Enza, to Leslie, to Kier, all of us and all who will come, all who have, and all the lives that we've held, that held this grief. We ask now that this be the moment to be free from the grief in our hearts. May the ancient Mayan, Aztec, may all the wisdom of the panther, the jaguar, and the cat draw this grief from us, allowing us to detach from the story. Let it be, let it be, let it be. And so it is. No, no, yes, no. No, no, yes, no. She's not, but it's involved. Spirit Messenger, powerful journey and process. It was challenging to acknowledge the agreements and watch it burn up. I feel a sadness like what's next for me. The slate feels empty. I would love a reading to expand on it. Perfect. I love it. So as we breathe and release all that we have come here and been gifted with this sacred vortex, that the sacred flames burn away and the violet flame transmute all that has been released, remembered, and received from the sadness, the fear, and the torture, from the lack and the loss, to the potential of joy and the future unknown. Release, relax. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Release the sadness because it holds the fondness, it holds the memory, and it holds the recognition that you have traveled this path. You are not here to forget who you are because of what you have traveled. It is not what happened, who did it, or even what you did because of it. It's only what you believed was true about you that changed your path, kept you small, or released you into an unsafe, unknown territory. There is a sense of a very big dragon, like scary looking, embodying the idea of, war or something, everything burning down. And you were left there alone afterwards, and there was nothing there but burned down buildings and ashes, like in Europe, and something had bombed everything. And you don't know, but you did lose your family, and you're standing there, you're young, you're a baby, and in front of you is a beautiful white marble altar. And I believe you were in a church, and the church was bombed. Everyone is gone. There's just dust, and you stand up, and it's almost an iconic image of you looking over this altar, everything burning, ashes actually slowly coming down from the ceiling, and the end of the church blown out. So it's just a big opening to the sky, to the outside. And you just see that. And there's this deep sense of, it's not even sadness, because the sadness is there, the grief is there, the loss is there. It's the shock. And like that slate is empty, yet how can that be good? It isn't even the moment of absorbing what's been lost. It's the shock moment that you have stayed stuck in that's kept either direction. It's like being frozen versus flight or fight or rest. That rest hasn't been honored or allowed because the sadness to leave behind, the not knowing why, who, where, what, that literally instant ending of reality, family, protection, everything. It's like being deposited on another planet. And that is like almost like a 3D, like a body sadness, that the soul is really much more into like looking across this altar with these enormous eyes that, like our eyes from the soul, or that are going, everything I believed in is gone, and I'm in a church. I thought I was protected by God. This is a crisis of identity and faith and everything. God didn't protect me or my family. And that's a sense of what's happening now for you, because moving forward means that you reject everything. And it means that you reflect and repackage everything. You complete it and you acknowledge it. And the gift we give ourselves by saying, yeah, that happened. Or you accept the sadness as long as it needs to come up. But this is a profound life. And there's other lives that are intersecting here. There's never, there's really never, after doing this for 38 years, there's never a life. It used to be in the beginning, it was one life. Then that life opened the door to two more lives. And we saw a string of related circumstances, agreements, powers, fears, whatever was the connecting force. And then you start to realize why some of these things are so strong. You don't need to know all the lives that had them either. But keep in mind, this is the young boy, literally, entire reality exploded, including the sense of structure of a divine force being in any way real, or so there's a spiritual crisis for you, and it doesn't have to be bad, but this is a big difference. And you stepping forward is moving into the unknown by being in the present moment, realizing the power, the prosperity, the solutions, whatever it is in that moment. the more you can be in the moment, neutral, holding the wish, holding the dream, holding that you believe you know how to do the dream, even if you don't, whatever it is in that moment, and then accepting the sadness or accepting the empty slate. And then what does that mean? There's other things in there too. If you keep going and looking at the empty slate for a few days in your meditation, you're going to see a bunch of different things that you perceive are the meaning of the empty slate. The empty slate for you is, first and foremost, of course, everything was taken from me. Everything abandoned me. A child has a strong feeling that even if you can't consciously, logically blame your parents for leaving you if they're blown up, you still do. You're still angry with them for leaving. You still feel abandoned. And the empty slate means you're now responsible for yourself. The empty slate means you can't see the solution, the path, and the map. The empty slate means that you don't get to know before you have to step out of your comfort zone. There's a lot going on there, and it's very exciting. I love where you are because it's deeply mystical, spiritual, which means it's working on many levels of your life and your past simultaneously, which is what we're going to see here in the Dragon Year. Because as that structure is built for you, you need to be more and more clear about where you want to go. You don't have to decide, like with the end of the year structure can be changed at any moment. The dragon can just burn that sucker down, build a new one. However, each step of the way, there needs to be consciousness, right, brought into it. So sit with it, accept those parts of you, let them show you the different aspects of what those symbols mean to you, because they all hold information and powers. And then when you realize, oh, this life, he did live a while. This life was just, wow, so much harder than mine, not as a guilt thing, but as a wise one. Like, you're a wise one. I want you as one of my advisors, because when you have great tragedy, great loss, great suffering, it isn't required to become enlightened or a master of your emotions or seek the higher realms for mastery and control of the experience you're having. We're all going to experience the same earthquake. However, how I feel, what I think it means, how I react, what I do before and after, the choices I make in my life about what I think of the earthquake is my choice, is my creation point. So, wow, beautiful. So share with me as I'm doing the readings for you guys, if you know how this is coming up. Sylvia says, I was alone, but there were hooded gray beings around. I felt very safe and secure, and then I slept. I feel calm and relaxed. Good. So a lot of times, in fact, when the training that I had for hypnosis was to first, go through a series of relaxing you, intake from you, and then relaxing you, your body, and all of that, to take you into deeper states of consciousness and let go of your thinking mind. And you stay aware, you know what I'm saying, you're following along. Maybe sometimes you fall asleep or you go peacefully to somewhere else, and that's perfect. That's exactly the way for you to receive that. And then often you go first to a safe place, a happy place. So if some of you, I noticed, were landing in the woods or were landing somewhere where you were alone, and you had either already escaped something or you were going to your happy place where you felt empowered in that life before you really encountered the challenge of that life, that was what led you there. What will lead you to the other lives is the wound and the fear, if that's what you're focused on. So if you're saying, why do I have this fear? Why do I have this pain? Why do I have this challenge? Then you go do this process, or you come do the session with me and do the other processes with us, or you do whatever way you do it. You want to go in with the intention and the willingness and the permission to get this information to come to you. And first, if you go to the happy place, then you can return to the happy place before you come back into this moment, that now moment at that time. And that is one way to do it. And one way that makes people feel very safe, if you start to imagine what's your happy place. And this can be your creation chamber, it can be your meditation space in the ethers that you create a lot of. So I like that you felt very safe and secure, and you slept, and you've received calm and relaxation. It's very nice. Just tune in and see if there's anything really that you need to know. Well, this is definitely what we would call aliens. And they took you to some other place, and then they're like all around you. You were like laying but floating, like laying sort of asleep while they were, and they were. Energies were going around you in an oval, even with you this way, and then they moved through different time and spaces. Mostly looks dark, like being in space, and but they were doing like energy work. It reminds me of dolphins, or like cocooning you, healing you, rejuvenating you. They were turning the clock. They said they were turning the clock. Ooh, they were turning the clock. Interesting. So they are turning the clock. So they're unwinding something for you, and you'll feel it for a few days, and you'll feel some energies unraveling. And the more you just acknowledge it, or say, I release, I give permission, the more that they will be doing that for you. Interesting. So you see, like some of these might have nothing to do with another life, but they might. Maybe there was a life that Sylvia was very connected to beings that we call aliens. Maybe she did healing work with people in other realms. And there's just a lot of different things. Josie says, I was a young lady in a very fancy room, and I had a bonnet on with a very long dress. It looks like wealth, but I was sad, like unfulfilled, and it was like my husband was the one with the money. Very good, very good, very, very good. Look at you guys just all getting all this stuff. Woo! I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. So come and join us, because the 3 live classes, if you want to come to them, but you'll have the repeats to do the processes, don't start till the end of the month. And then we'll do a session together, and then we'll all get to share what comes up. So I love this. So what you want to do is, like, you'll ponder this, right? Like, you'll start thinking about that lady, and maybe the dress, or the color of the dress, or the feeling. And that's what's important. So when you go into this, and with whatever we've all received, you want to receive it in a way where you're like, that was just the first flash, that was just the first connection. Now you've established a connection, you've received the message, they've come to you, like you see her or feel her, or whatever way you have, you just remember it, or you can sense it. So now you can start connecting, and more will be revealed to you. So of course, obviously, the message, one of the big messages is that you can have all the accoutrement, you can have all the wealth, you can have all the stuff that looks good. And it was like, oh, you're lucky, you're wealthy, you should be happy, but you weren't, because you didn't have your own money, which meant you didn't have your own power, which means you didn't have your own choice, which means in varying degrees how much that was true. I mean, I still know women now who have husbands who do not let them have a debit card or credit card, give them the money. They hear, you have to get the groceries based on this, or all, I don't know, all different forms of control, instead of sharing that and stepping into that. And these all come from past lives. So unfulfilled, sad, and someone else has the money. So how do you see that relating to how you feel now about money, or the relationship you've had? Have you had relationships, in any kind of relationship, where the other person seemed to have what you would call the money? Maybe they didn't have money, but they had the power or the connections, or they were the one that could say yes or no to you getting in school or going somewhere, or whatever form of freedom. And also there's something underneath there about not being seen and valued for what's inside of you. You know, like being dressed up like a pretty package, and then inside of you is all this happiness and creativity, and you loved the beautiful dresses and you loved all of this, but there was this sense of being like, you know, when am I going to get to play? When is there going to be happiness? This is not happiness. It feels like some isolation, some desire for, I think you were allowed to do some creative things. You know, if you wanted to learn to paint, they would get you the paints or have a tutor, but somebody was always watching. It wasn't like you could have a group or friends. There's an agreement that you can break, and she's showing me a necklace. She has a long beaded necklace. It looks red, and she's pulling it. She's just looking at you like she doesn't want anyone to see, and she's looking at you, and she's pulling on it and looking at you. You need to do this too, until it just pops and the beads go everywhere. Now, it's not tied around her neck at all. It's really, really long, and it's not super, super big or heavy, but she's like, there's something there that's going to break these contracts, something around your neck, something holding you back. See what comes up right about those. The dream world is very, very powerful place to meet with her and for everybody. Wow. You guys. Lisa says, thank you. I felt drawn to shaman energy in the past and thought that was my native connection. This was eye-opening for me, a very different direction. And right now I'm releasing so much grief. Oh, good, honey. Good, good, good. Lenore, I felt I was being honored for my silence. So this has been my comfort space, yet contributing to indecision and action. Very interesting. Very interesting, Lenore. Let me peek and see if there's anything else there for you. But I like what you're saying based on the idea that being honored for your silence excuse me, is very powerful, and silence is a power. And it's not just a power of like those who are silent, observe or see. The more wise you become, the less you speak, all these kinds of ideas. So this is a power that you can have, but it has also worked against you, right? Staying silent, being comfortable staying silent, and when you need to pop out, and you do need to pop out, you need to make a decision, take action, and then rest, and then make a decision and take action and then rest. So this life, or this some aspect of this life, was you were tapping into being revered for something very few people have. And so there's a lot of pride, not bad pride. Pride is a lower state, but self-love, self-acceptance, self-valued value around that quality in that life. You were revered for it, you were honored for it, and it's not easy, and very few people do it. So that is part of what keeps you from stepping out of your comfort zone and breaking the silence, is being obligated to that, embodying that role, that being, that who you are, what people perceive of you. And now's the time to change the relationship with that part of you and walk, you know, back and forth and hand in hand with it. Also, really receive that honor, that respect, because this is a community of I don't know if it was Buddhist, but it's that kind of like meditating side of community that really honored and revered you, but it was also the village or the country or the culture at large too. And you were very proud of it because it was something you worked hard to achieve. And you felt like the hard work that it took for you to achieve this ability to be silent was sort of a wound or a badge that you carried. And that's something else that this life wants you to look at, is how hard do you have to work to be worthy of this kind of respect and honor, and then support through the community, through friends, and really accepting and honoring yourself, that you have these powers. This is a great power. Thank you. These little mini readings are so profound, aren't they? Like they just go, they just go. um, Thank you for saying our unique story means we were never meant to conform to others' ideas, and it's such that is honoring ourselves. Always felt like I was swimming upstream with my path. Everybody feels that way, and we were all doing it to complete that attachment to that story. We have people in our lives who are attached to the story of get this kind of job, don't go do scary things, save all your money, never be happy, whatever it is. And they are doing it for their own safety. They were programmed with it. They're doing it for your safety, or repressing you, telling you you're no good or whatever. If you received that kind of environment or abuse, it's just another form of holding you back, of these patterns manifesting in people, places, things, then giving you an opportunity. Which one of these times will you speak up? Which one of these times will you remove yourself? Which one of these times will you change, rise above, learn to master your mind or your emotions, learn to make new choices, learn to say, there's got to be a way to do it. If I don't have my own money and everyone else has it, I'm powerless. I can't change. I can't leave. I can't go. There's a lot of women and a lot of people in that situation. These aren't situations that are impossible. It's based on what you perceive is true and real and where the money comes from now, not based on the reality of a gazillion different opportunities could open, including someone inviting you to live in their mansion for the next 5 years rent free. These are not, I'm not making this up. Okay. Priya, that was beautiful. I was a young farm boy who always dreamed of adventure, but never gave myself permission to leave my home or land. I just did the same thing day in and out. It left me with regret. Very powerful. So I'm assuming that you didn't say, but you're seeing the correlation, right, to your life experiences now. It doesn't mean everything was that way. You've had a call to adventure. You've had a call to wanting to do new things. And this has been there affecting your decisions. And our decisions are based on our beliefs, and we can pretend they, of course not, they didn't get in the way, but they limit what you see as possible, what you know about. I used to teach my clients who were looking for money, looking for clients, or for something for their business or for their income, that it literally is all around you. Where are you looking or blocking seeing something? And it was usually someone sitting next to you on a bus or at a dinner or a lunch that was a potential client. But if you were worried about when am I ever going to find a client and you don't notice them, or if you're feeling like I'm not good enough, why would I ever speak up to this person? Or you sit silently, right? You make that agreement to sit silently and let everybody else talk. And then if someone asks you, well, what do? You don't take that opportunity to share, which then would make the person two people over hear you and come to you and become a client for 2 years. And these all have happened to me and to my clients. So there's that part of us that says you can't, it's not safe. And so that, of course, young farm boy is being a boy. You didn't see him as an old man. You saw him in the sadness and the regret already as a young boy, because what he craves, what he desires, what he's ready for isn't there, right? It isn't there. It isn't happening. He feels that there's nothing he can do. He keeps wanting to, but he knows he won't. So he's not being impeccable with his word, right? The 4 agreements. He's not saying, I want that, and then taking action and following up on it. So he doesn't trust himself, and you don't. You dream of things you want, and you do many things in this life to make them happen. There's still a part of you that only accepts part of it, that only believes part of it is real or good, or you're good enough, or that it will last. And therefore you prevent some of the things from taking root that you've already manifested. And you want to look at any place that you feel like it's mundane, it's repetitive, day in, day out. I'm stuck with this. I have no way out. That powerlessness, that's being a slave to the beliefs. So you can move towards your wish and start to dream, weave a dream that you don't know exactly what it will look like, but you know that it's not this, that you don't want to do the same thing. You want adventure. You want something to call your soul, and you find it right now today, right? You find this little thing. I go for a walk with my higher self. I turn left if my higher self says turn left. I stare at the tree and talk to the squirrels for 10 minutes because nobody can tell me I'm being silly. Be in the magic and the charm, or what we are calling the prosperous, peaceful, powerful present moment. You can drop out of worry and fear and into being quiet and calm. If you know how to breathe, meditate, any of these things. So you do it to drop out of that sense of treadmill and into, there's the permission, but giving permission to yourself never happened. So if you have given yourself permission in this life, make a new ritual from it. Invite this boy in. You are now going to have a ritual to free him from living that mundane life. He's lost his life force because the life is defined by this endless never out. Can't have what I want, but I have to keep going. And then the freedom and the youth and the excitement and the zest for life that he has will start to rise up, and you will be able to share that. You don't have to do it alone. Wow. Wonderful. All right, my loves, I saw myself as a young Native American woman with a very young daughter playing in tall grasses. It was very peaceful until a rush of horses blew past and I fell to the ground, reaching for my daughter. Yeah, the winds of change coming, knocking down your life and your lifestyle. So the important things, we're going to wrap up now, but I just want to share a little bit more because you guys have shared so many beautiful, powerful things that you've remembered. And I want you to go back to what you wrote, go back to what you saw, write it down, remember it, go to bed, ask what else is there, keep the connection going, cleanse and clear any attachments or fears as they come up. You're doing it for both of you. And then that is extending out into the other lives of your soul. And it tune back in, Lisa, to that moment with your daughter playing in the tall grass and peaceful before the horses went by and knocked everything in your life over. Okay, that's the most key right now, medicine from that for you. Okay, and make sure that you go to the shop and you see that we've just put this on sale. We were offering it as a class. It's now a private session of doing your past life core pattern one, understanding this, and then a series of processes to go back and do this work again, and some live interaction so that we can share and communicate with your past lives. Also, if you feel called to the Mayan, this retreat is loving, it's deep, it's mother, it's going into the womb and the earth and the waters and the dolphins rewiring. And there's so much that's coming forward. New women healers, new healing, sound healings in waters, and just everything, watching everything come together. We're going to go to another sacred pyramid on one of the 2 extra days, and really go to the jaguar altar and really just do the whole thing. In walking this, you will have past life memories together with other people in the group or not. You will have past life powers activated. Go to Greece, the same thing will happen. That other lives will come forward and they accelerate, and they may be there for a moment, or they may be there to open a whole new door. There was a lady who came on the retreat in Greece, and it shocked her because it triggered a whole new thing. And she's like, I know I'm not done with Greece, but I don't know exactly how. And it was one site that she was activated at. Several other women were just, it was just a normal site. For her, it was like a soul reunion in two different ways. One was over where like Christian apostle type of things were, and the other one was in the ancient, really ancient temple of Apollo. So different lives, different philosophies, different beliefs, ones that persecuted each other. And then, but has opened a magic door for her to perceive things that even a little bit later she said, where does Pegasus come into this? Why do I keep seeing Pegasus since then? And I went, oh my gosh, I forgot. When we were leaving Corinth, we forgot to go drive by the town circle that has a statue of Pegasus because it is the emblem of that town. Um, so these are just some of the little clues that come up, right? When we're searching, when we're moving into the depth and the richness. Certainly, if you travel, or you may be able to look back at times you have traveled, that your powers were incredible. They were so attuned or activated. Recently, a friend of mine spent like a year and a half in Europe going traveling around, broke her toe, called me up. I did a healing reading on her, and I'm like, you went by an ancient place, kind of like a prison, and you picked this up. And she said, oh, I kayaked past in Portugal, a big ancient fort, that was used as a prison. And she was down really low at the water level, at that low prison dungeon level, and connected right there with her foot, and went through a whole long healing journey with the foot that was clearing DNA, that was changing some of the cells and releasing the idea that of torture and imprisonment, because we can no longer be slaves. We can no longer believe that we can be slaves, and we need to free the lives within us that have that pattern, and not go the other way and be the captors and the aggressors, but free all of us. We're freeing all of us. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody. I just love this. It was so rich and beautiful. Let's see. Oh, here's some people giving responses. Thank you, Nan. Sylvia said, that feels right. I look forward to how this resonates and unfolds. Wow. Spirit Messenger said, wow, no wonder I feel abandoned and have a huge challenge letting go to allow the rest. Yes. Thank you for this awareness to acknowledge and understand it and rise above it. I will meditate on the empty state. Yeah. And it isn't like your state rises above it so you can see and understand the patterns, not from fear. And then the goo goes away. Then Gaia can eat all the pain and fear attached to it. It doesn't mean anything. Then it's just, oh, that happened, but I went through it, and now I am a result of that experience. I have that strength or that resilience. I have that wisdom. I have that whatever. And if it was sadness and grief, living through sadness and grief and choosing to live every day is a power of resilience that usually ends up leading to the power to see the good in life, to be in the present moment and see the richness there regardless. And that's a rich, rich life, right? So, and then when you rise above it, you can take the stuff, but you're transmuting the energy. You're accepting the energy. You're no longer rejecting the energy, hiding this part of you, afraid of this part of you, shackling and allowing that part of you to still stay in some form of prison. That means you don't think about it, you don't acknowledge it. There can be some grief and sadness that you process. There could be some rashes that come out of your body. You can get a dragon burn. You may process the energy as it releases. It's okay, because now you have a connection, and you do the light body work I teach you, do your cleansing, your clearing, breathe, do your incense, get your beautiful partners, get your obsidian, do the things that really help you keep a safe space, and clear and cleanse, clear and cleanse, clear and cleanse, and receive. Okay. Priya, this process was very cool for me. I thought that lifetime I saw was irrelevant until I started hearing other people's stories. I'm starting to connect more dots now. Very good. I'm so glad. I know there's a concept that either it's kind of silly, or maybe it's weird, or you could get obsessed with your past lives and want to know them all. And that's why I say the ones that come up are the ones that are relevant, that have the answers, and now they want to become a part of your life. And as they become free, maybe you have no more encounters, but in 4 months, suddenly that life has processed and has released all of that. And that's no longer in your soul. And you're both moving forward. This is about the energy being held, feared, locked into a particular emotional or mental state that doesn't let you be free to become the creator you came here to be. These are not things that have to hold you back. Nothing that's happened to any of us has to prevent us from living our purpose. It has been gifted to us so that we can live our purpose. The butterfly cannot survive if someone cuts open the cocoon to let it out. It has to decide to fight free, and it has to gain the strength through fighting out of the cocoon, which is not easy. And it probably goes frustrated, like, oh, it's so hard. Why is that? However, it's the preparation, right? And I was guided into the space by ascended masters. I had huge wings, and was at the altar of my soul. Oh my goodness. The key you brought in made me soar up as I held it. Wow. It unlocked my bliss. Wow. I was releasing all the anger. Oh, wow. Awesome. Excellent. I love it. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to hug you. Make a decision, take action, then rest like cats do. Lisa says, yes. I love that. You're so welcome. You're so welcome for the guidance and the readings. I love what you shared. What a rich, deep community this is. I feel so blessed to be here. Me too, Lisa, with all of you. So much gratitude to all of you, and especially our fairy godmother. Oh, you are so welcome, my loves. Thank you, Lenore, Marnie. Isolated in nature, not safe to show my connected elements and earth gifts. Banned. Bad things happened. No intimacy with others if I show all of me. Very good. Very good. So again, another one of these lives that showed us where we were banned, where we were limited, where we were judged, where we were hated, where we were feared and punished. And this isn't always what happens when you do this. However, we right now relate to our fears and our pain because that's been reality. It's been what we've taught to live with. And as we relate to that, it's what we see. And as we relate to it, it's what we bring up in us. And we need to acknowledge it so that we can transmute it. So this is very, very good. Let me just see here. I'm going to burn a little copal for all of us and for Marnie. This is the most protective, most powerful shadow tree, gift from the trees. This is a sap from a tree. I've worked with Native American shamans, Lakota Sioux, and some others in the US, and some Egyptian type. And then here in my land, and I find that the magic or the tools here I really resonate with, and one reason is the power here is extremely palpable. The jungle here is very powerful, and it isn't like 14, well, it was powerful once upon a time. So these tools work in really deep, intense, true magic, darkness, whatever. Okay, so we're going to do this and clear. So we ask to clear and cleanse everyone who is here now or at any time. And we ask to bring the sacred smoke, the power of the ancient Maya, the love of the grandmother. We thank Ishel, we thank Ekbalam and Jaguar. We thank all of our guides, Isis and Osiris, who've opened the doors to a new time. Our Jaguar guide who's walked us between the worlds. As we have seen these worlds open and remembered what they told us was true, we now return to this time and place with clear vision. We see the truth. Thank you, Athena. Thank you, Athena. Thank you to the owl, boohoo of truth that allows me to see through my own darkness and pain. Nothing can hold me. I am safe. First, the safety comes from within. It must come from a choice for Marnie, for everyone. You must make a choice that you feel is unsafe, but you know in your heart is safe. If you desire safety, are you desiring certainty? Are you desiring the past? Are you desiring something to be in one way? Or are you desiring support? It's the denial of your connection to the elements and your earth gifts that create the bad things happening because you've been convinced that they will cause it, but they are what protect it. You are powerful, and you cannot be intimate with yourself or anyone until you accept your power and understand how to wield it. Go to this life, go to Merlin, go to Morgane Le Fay, go to the fairies, go to the caves. Remember them. That is where your power is, and you've agreed to be separated from it. There is no other choice to make. Go back. Go in sacred ceremony. Walk. Know, even if those do not know what you are doing, that you are in a sacred place, that you are connected to the earth, that you talk and you speak, and there need be nothing that anyone knows. May this circle be open yet unbroken, and the wisdom and the guidance, the beauty, as well as the acknowledgement of all that has been released, all that has been received, known and unknown, seen and unseen. Accept, allow, receive, and harmonize now. We receive this download from the full color spectrum, gently bringing us into harmony with this new information, this new power, this new life, this new understanding, and the new possibilities. I accept. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are one, and yet we walk this path alone. Let us each part ways and bring our heart together, that we all remember in this moment and in all moments, we are creating our life, and we agree to create our life with self-love, self-acceptance, nourishing and nurturing. We are the prosperity circle. We are the sisters and brothers of life force, eternal, abundant, delicious, and divine. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Go see my honey bunny. I can feel his energy. I'm calling to my honey bunny, bunny, boo bears. We had a wonderful, wonderful beach walk, and now we're going to go sit in the hot tub. And we're having a gorgeous day. And then at 1 in the morning, supposedly it's going to start raining. We're going to have a few more days of our stormy stuff. So I love to go on the beach walk. Doesn't matter to me if it's windy, but sometimes you just can't do it. And so enjoy the moment. The moment is here as a gift. The riches that you need in this moment, everything you require is actually in this moment. Now, don't go crazy and say, well, where's the $1 million? I need $1 million. It should be laying on my desk. What you need, if the $1 million is really optimal for you, is to relax, to find the thread or the feeling, the idea, the inspiration, to release your pain. What is the next step for you to then connect to this? So thank you for playing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being so vulnerable and being here with me. I hope that you'll at least come and join the Sacred Spirit Guide Circle. That is a $26 a month. You can come and enjoy that. Come to the Sacred Soul Powers, get your past life reading, the core templates, and then do the other processes with us. And if you are interested, please come to the Maya Land with me and the dolphins in March, and come to Greece in May and see what past lives you might have, what gets triggered. I love to watch how people are attracted to these things, what comes up in their fields, like what, because I'm watching their energy. And then the minute that you find, oh, I'm interested, and you start finding a path through the ethers to that reality of you being there, it's the journey, it's the magic starts to unfold. And then I see them as they come, how they react to the healings and to the temples and to the different places. And these people are like, wow, that was amazing. And I remembered everything I ever was. And this person's like, wow, I just want to cry forever. And just like, it's such a magical journey that we're on. So enjoy it. Enjoy your day. I love you all. Namaste.